So imagine you are walking down a really busy city street, right?
Okay. I'm picturing it.
And you approach this ultra high-end retail storefront.
Right.
But this is not a normal store. Like, the exact second you step within 10 feet of the glass, the mannequins actually physically rearrange themselves.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they literally shift to match your specific body type. And then the colors of the clothes they're wearing, they instantly shift to, like, complement your exact skin tone.
That is vaguely terrifying.
Right. It sounds completely crazy. And the signage in the window instantly translates into your native language.
Wow.
Oh, and the prices. They adjust dynamically based on what the store's data profile knows about your disposable income.
I mean, that sounds like a dystopian science fiction movie.
It really does. But what if I told you that as of right now, artificial intelligence is doing exactly that for the text, the layout, and the images of the blogs you read every single day?
It's honestly a profound shift. I mean, we've spent the last, 2 decades treating the internet like a digital library.
Right, just static pages.
Exactly. Static pages just sitting there waiting to be pulled off a shelf by a user. But what we're looking at now is an internet that acts as a responsive organism.
Which is wild.
It is. The content doesn't just sit there anymore. It adapts, it shifts, and it actively reaches out to find you.
And that brings us to the core mission of today's deep dive. We are looking at a masterclass of a source document called the AI Advantage Elevating Blog Posts to Viral Success.
It's such a great breakdown of the current landscape.
It really is. So for you listening right now, whether you manage content for like a massive enterprise software company or you just run a highly technical niche publication, you already know the old rules are completely dead.
Oh, absolutely dead.
We all know that horrible pain of pouring like 40 hours of deep research into a brilliant piece of writing, hitting publish, and then just watching the analytics dashboard flatline.
It's the worst feeling in the world.
It's brutal. Attention is the rarest commodity on Earth right now. So today, we are taking a surgical look at how advanced AI tools have fundamentally altered the mechanics of distribution, optimization, and audience capture.
Because the baseline reality we have to accept, and I think our source material makes this incredibly clear, is that AI is no longer just a generative toy.
Right, it's not just a parlor trick anymore.
Exactly. It's an end-to-end back-office infrastructure now. We are moving way beyond this reductive idea of using AI just to, write a rough draft or check our spelling.
Yeah, the whole AI as a spell checker thing is so outdated.
It really is. The actual competitive advantage lies in utilizing machine learning as an optimization and distribution engine.
So it's about the back end.
Yes, the real magic happens when you pair a human's unique creative insight with an algorithm's ability to process 1 billion data points.
Like data points regarding how and when an audience wants to consume that insight.
Precisely. Where they want it, when they want it, and exactly how it should look.
Right. It's basically the marriage of high-level human strategy and just relentless machine execution.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So let's look at the bedrock of this new ecosystem, which actually starts long before a single word is drafted.
Yeah, the prep phase.
Exactly. The source outlines how AI is entirely stripping away the logistical friction of content creation. We are talking about automating all those brutal, repetitive workflows.
Oh, the stuff that just drains your soul as a writer.
Yes. The back-end scheduling, the cross-platform calendar synchronization, the initial data scraping, just to figure out keyword landscapes.
And we really need to pause and examine the psychological impact of that automation because it goes far beyond just, saving time.
You mean like the mental toll it takes?
Exactly. It has everything to do with cognitive load theory.
Okay, unpack that for us.
So writing, especially really deep, authoritative writing, it requires a massive amount of uninterrupted cognitive bandwidth.
Right, you have to be in the zone.
You have to be deeply in flow. But when a human creator is forced to constantly context switch, it shatters that flow.
Like when you're moving from the deep creative zone of drafting an article to suddenly having to manage a Trello board.
Exactly. Or pinging collaborators on Slack or trying to format metadata for a CMS, your mental energy is totally fractured.
And that friction actively degrades the quality of the actual writing, doesn't it?
It does. The friction of the logistics actively degrades the core product. You just don't have the energy left to be brilliant.
That makes total sense when you framed it on context switching. Like every time you pull yourself out of the writing zone to figure out what time zone your Twitter audience is most active in, you pay a massive cognitive penalty to get back into the writing mindset.
Exactly. So by utilizing AI integrations and API connections to automate that entire logistical apparatus, you are effectively protecting the creator's cognitive load.
You're building a wall around their focus.
Yes, an automated fortress. The blogger can shift their energy entirely back to high-level strategic planning and deep focus creativity.
So you aren't replacing the human at all.
Not at all. You are just handling the busy work so they can actually do the distinctly human work.
I like to think of it like the kitchen brigade system in a Michelin-starred restaurant.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. Like if you are the executive chef, you absolutely cannot be the person standing in the back for 3 hours, brunoising shallots and peeling potatoes.
It would be a complete waste of your talent.
Exactly. You need a world-class sous chef handling all the prep work. And in this case, the AI is the sous chef.
The AI chops the onions.
Yes. It scrapes the data, it sets up the infrastructure, it coordinates the delivery times, and you, as the executive chef, you step in to determine the flavor profile, the overarching menu narrative, and the final plating.
That is a highly accurate analogy, and honestly, if we extrapolate the impact of that across the entire digital landscape, it suggests a really fascinating consequence.
Which is what?
The overall depth and thoughtfulness of internet content is actually poised to increase.
Wait, really? Because a lot of people assume AI just means more spam.
Well, sure, there will be spam, but for serious creators, if they aren't exhausted by the sheer administrative friction of just trying to hit publish, they have more energy to dedicate to original research.
Oh, I see.
They can focus on complex synthesis and nuanced argumentation. The quality of the core material elevates because the human is allowed to operate purely in the realm of insight.
Okay, so the AI handles the prep work,
Yeah.
right? The human steps in and writes the actual draft.
Right.
But once you actually sit down at the keyboard, the AI doesn't just, like, disappear into the background.
No, not at all.
The source details how machine learning steps out of the administrative lane and becomes an active, real-time editorial partner.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about AI analyzing massive data sets to provide real-time optimization for tone, readability, and structural flow.
Yes, this is where we get into the mechanics of natural language processing, or NLP.
So it's not just a glorified spell checker looking for typos.
No, it is performing complex semantic analysis. It literally breaks down your sentence parse trees.
Parse trees.
Yeah, it maps the grammatical structure of your sentences. It calculates syllable density, and it even measures the semantic distance between your concepts to generate a real-time readability score.
That is intense.
It acts as an objective, data-driven mirror. It's constantly asking, is the mechanical structure of this sentence the most efficient vehicle for delivering this specific concept to this specific demographic?
But hold on, let me challenge that premise for a second.
Go for it.
Because if we have like millions of writers all plugging their drafts into these NLP models,
Right.
and those models are all suggesting the exact same syntactical structures, flagging complex words, and pushing for this idealized, efficient tone, don't we inevitably end up with a totally homogenized internet?
That is a very common fear.
Right. Like, aren't we engineering the unique human voice entirely out of the equation until every B2B blog and personal newsletter sounds like it was written by the exact same corporate robot?
It's a completely valid pushback, and I hear it all the time. But the source text clarifies why that homogenization doesn't actually happen in practice.
Okay, why not?
Well, provided the tools are used correctly, there is this concept of an iterative feedback loop that is highly context-dependent.
Context-dependent, what does that mean for the AI?
It means the AI isn't enforcing a single monolithic set of grammatical rules across the entire web. It is actively aligning your writing with the intended audience's specific behavioral data.
Okay, walk me through how that context dependency actually works under the hood.
So an advanced AI co-writer understands that the syntactic structure required for, say, an academic white paper on quantum cryptography.
Right, which would be incredibly dense.
Exactly. It knows that is vastly different from the structure required for a consumer-facing review of running shoes.
Okay, yeah, those are totally different audiences.
The AI references its training data to understand the readability threshold of your specific niche.
Oh, so it knows who I'm talking to.
Yes. It knows that if you are writing for developers, highly technical jargon is actually preferred, right? It builds trust.
Because if you sound too simplistic, they'll think you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. But if you're writing a top-of-funnel marketing post for a general audience, that same technical jargon will cause a 70% bounce rate.
People will just click away instantly.
Yep. So the AI is optimizing for clarity within a defined context. In a digital environment where the average attention span is measured in milliseconds, clarity isn't about dumbing things down.
It's not about making it stupid.
No, it's about reducing the cognitive friction of reading so the user can actually absorb your complex idea without getting a headache.
So it's fundamentally an accessibility tool, really.
That's a great way to look at it.
It's less about making you sound like a robot and more about preventing you from accidentally building a massive wall of impenetrable text that alienates the exact people you're trying to reach.
Precisely. And the source uses two very specific terms here that highlight this balance perfectly.
What are they?
Topical authority paired with user-centric relevance.
Okay, let's define those for the listener because that sounds like the exact tightrope every single content creator is trying to walk right now.
It really is the holy grail.
Yeah.
So, topical authority is the depth, accuracy, and comprehensiveness of your knowledge.
Like, do you actually know your stuff?
Yes, it means you are an actual expert, and search engines can verify that depth based on the entities and concepts you connect in your writing.
Got it. And what about user-centric relevance?
That means the information is structured in a way that respects the reader's time and formatting preferences.
So using appropriate headers, bullet points, stuff like that.
Exactly. Varied sentence lengths, clear spacing. AI helps writers hit the exact intersection of those two metrics.
It ensures your deep knowledge is actually readable.
Right. It packages your authoritative knowledge in a highly digestible format.
Okay, so we have engineered a piece of content that is deeply authoritative and perfectly readable for our specific audience.
The perfect draft.
Right. But a brilliant article just sitting on a server is still totally invisible.
It doesn't matter how good it is if nobody sees it.
Exactly. It needs to be discovered. Which brings us to the underlying architecture of the internet, which is search engines.
Yes, the gatekeepers.
We need to talk about how machine learning is completely rewriting the rules of SEO.
This is perhaps the most aggressive evolution outlined in the text. The mechanics of discoverability have moved from a game of manual manipulation to a game of predictive data science.
Right, because we all remember the dark ages of SEO.
Oh, keyword stuffing. It was awful.
The absolute worst. Like you would read a paragraph that literally said, if you are looking for the best accounting software, our best accounting software is the best accounting software for your business.
It was unreadable garbage.
Pure garbage, designed entirely for web crawlers, not humans. But the source explains that AI has completely leapfrogged that archaic approach.
Completely.
We are now dealing with AI-driven predictive SEO that analyzes real-time search patterns, user intent, and even algorithmic volatility.
To really understand how massive this shift is, we have to look at how an AI approaches the very concept of a keyword.
Okay, how did humans used to do it?
Well, human marketers historically looked at historical data, like what did people search for last month?
Looking in the rearview mirror.
Exactly. But AI looks at predictive clustering. It uses machine learning algorithms to identify high-traffic head terms, sure, but more importantly, to uncover untapped, highly specific, long-tail keywords.
And how does it find those?
By analyzing the semantic relationships between thousands of different search queries.
I want to use an analogy here because the jump from standard SEO to AI predictive SEO is huge.
Go ahead.
So think of standard historical SEO as trying to map a city's traffic patterns by manually driving down every single street yourself and like writing down on a notepad where the cars are.
Very tedious.
Right. And by the time you publish your map, the traffic has already moved. It's totally reactionary. But AI predictive SEO is like having access to real-time satellite imagery, combined with a supercomputer that analyzes weather patterns, local event schedules, and historical driving habits to show you exactly where a traffic jam is going to happen tomorrow.
I love that.
And it allows you to build a giant billboard on that specific detour route before the cars even arrive.
That is a fantastic way to visualize it. You are anticipating the user's need based on predictive modeling rather than just reacting to yesterday's search volume.
And the long-tail keywords are the exact detour routes in that analogy, right?
Yes, exactly.
So instead of targeting a broad term like accounting software, which is basically a bloodbath of competition where you'll never rank,
Right, the big guys own that space.
the AI identifies a rising cluster of queries around something super specific like cloud-based accounting software for freelance graphic designers in the UK.
Exactly. The volume for that is a fraction of the broad term.
But the search intent is razor sharp.
That's the key. When someone searches that highly specific long-tail query, they aren't just browsing or doing casual research.
Oh, they are ready to buy.
They have a highly transactional intent. And the AI allows you to find those specific intent clusters at scale, which is impossible for a human to do manually across thousands of potential topics.
You need an army of analysts to figure that out.
And you still wouldn't be as fast. Furthermore, AI constantly monitors the black box volatility of search engine algorithms.
Because Google changes its rules constantly, right?
Google updates its core algorithm thousands of times a year. An AI tool can scrape SRP, which is the search engine results page. It scrapes that volatility in real time.
So it knows the second the rules change.
Instantly. It can alert a creator if a specific formatting style or metadata structure is suddenly being penalized, allowing the brand to remain incredibly agile.
And the source points out another incredibly technical application of AI in this space, which is link building.
Yes, this is a game changer.
Which is wild to me, because link building has always felt like the most manual, relationship-driven part of SEO.
It has always been a massive headache.
Just for the listener, link building is essentially the process of getting other reputable websites to link back to your article.
Right.
And that signals to search engines that your content is trustworthy and authoritative. But how does an algorithm automate human relationship building?
Well, it doesn't automate the human relationship itself. It automates the targeting of the relationship.
What do you mean?
Historically, link acquisition was a scattershot guessing game. You buy a massive list of email addresses, you send out 1,000 generic pitch templates, and you just pray for a 1% conversion rate.
Pure spam.
Exactly. AI fundamentally changes that architecture.
Mm-hmm.
It can analyze the massive, complex backlink graphs of your top competitors.
So it looks at who is linking to the people you are trying to beat.
Yes. It identifies the exact digital nodes, the specific high-authority websites and niche publications that hold the most algorithmic weight in your specific sector.
Oh, wow. So it basically maps the entire power structure of your industry's corner of the internet.
Exactly. It tells you mathematically which specific links will actually move the needle for your domain authority.
So you aren't wasting time pitching sites that don't matter.
Right. Instead of sending 1,000 spam emails, the AI gives you a highly targeted list of the top 15 highest leverage sites to contact.
That is amazing. It turns a blind guessing game into a surgical strike.
It maximizes the return on the human effort required to actually do the outreach.
Okay, let's look at the stack we've built so far.
It's a pretty impressive stack.
It is. We have an AI-optimized workflow protecting our cognitive load. We have an NLP co-writer ensuring perfect readability. We have predictive machine learning models locking in our SEO and backlink targets.
The text is an absolute powerhouse at this point.
It's a masterpiece. But here's the harsh reality of human behavior. If I'm like scrolling through my phone on a crowded subway, a massive wall of perfectly optimized authoritative text is not going to make my thumb stop.
No, nobody stops for a wall of text.
It needs a visual hook. Which brings us to how AI is automating compelling imagery and bridging the gap between text and visual stopping power.
This is a critical transition because we process visual information magnitudes faster than we process text.
Right.
If the visual doesn't hook the user's peripheral vision instantly, the perfectly optimized text beneath it is entirely irrelevant.
They'll just scroll right past it.
Exactly.
The source states that AI is now natively integrated into producing images, compressing video, and generating automated graphic design based on current trends.
Yes. The AI actually reads the blog post you just wrote.
Which is crazy. It reads the post, analyzes the tone, and recommends specific color palettes, font weights, and graphic layouts that complement the text.
It creates a cohesive package.
But I have to ask a deeply philosophical question here.
Okay, lay it on me.
How can a line of code understand aesthetics? Like, beauty is entirely subjective. How does an AI know what looks good to a human eye?
It's a great question. And to understand it, we actually have to divorce the concept of art from the concept of engagement geometry.
Engagement geometry.
Yeah. The AI isn't relying on a subjective sense of taste. It doesn't go to art museums. It is relying entirely on convolutional neural networks, or CNNs.
And what do those do?
They have analyzed billions of data points regarding human click-through rates. It doesn't know what is beautiful. It knows what triggers a neurochemical response in a specific demographic.
Okay, break that down for me. What does the AI actually see when it looks at an image? Like, it doesn't see a sunset, right?
Right. It sees mathematics, it analyzes the contrast ratios, the placement of subjects within the rule of thirds, the specific hex codes of the colors being used, and the density of the visual information.
So it's just pure data.
Pure data.
Yeah.
It correlates that structural data against massive data sets of audience behavior.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. So if you are writing a blog post about mindfulness meditation, the AI cross-references that topic with current engagement trends.
Right.
And it determines that statistically, your target audience is currently pausing their scrolling 45% more often for minimalist, low-contrast, earth-toned graphics with ample negative space.
Instead of what?
Rather than, say, bright, high-contrast stock photos of people smiling on yoga mats.
Wow. So it's mapping visual elements directly to behavioral metrics.
Exactly.
It's essentially weaponizing design based on proven human psychology.
That is exactly what it's doing.
Yeah.
And importantly, it executes this while maintaining strict brand consistency.
Oh, so it doesn't just go rogue and make stuff that doesn't look like your company.
No, it ensures that the generated visuals adhere to your company's overarching design language, and this instantly elevates the perceived production value of the content.
Because it looks so professional.
Right. When a reader lands on a page where the typography, the custom graphics, and the layout all feel highly polished and cohesive, it establishes an immediate subconscious baseline of trust.
Before they even read the first sentence.
Exactly. Trust is built visually first.
Okay, so the asset is totally complete. The text is sharp, the SEO is predictive, the visuals are mathematically engineered to capture attention.
It's ready to go.
The blog post is ready to be released into the wild. But as the source makes very clear, how you release that content is just as important as what is in it.
Distribution is everything.
Right, just pushing publish and hoping for the best is a guaranteed recipe for failure. We have to dive into distribution on autopilot and the mechanics of social media exposure.
This is where we transition from content creation into pure algorithmic distribution strategy.
The source material details how AI scheduling software and content distribution networks are completely upending the traditional marketing calendar.
Oh, the old spreadsheet calendars are dead.
Thank goodness. It ensures posts reach target audiences at optimal times across varying global time zones. But surely it goes deeper than just, like, a glorified alarm clock that posts to Twitter at 9 a.m.
It goes exponentially deeper because posting the exact same message across 5 different platforms at the exact same time is highly inefficient.
People do that all the time, though.
They do, and it fails. An advanced AI distribution engine understands platform-specific native languages.
What do you mean by native languages, like English versus Spanish?
No, I mean the cultural and structural language of the platform itself.
Oh, gotcha.
The way you introduce an article on LinkedIn, which favors longer, professional, paragraph-driven narratives.
Right, lots of storytelling.
Yes, that needs to be entirely different from how you introduce that exact same article on X, which requires punchy, high-information density hooks.
And different again from Instagram.
Exactly, which is highly visual. The AI ingests your core blog post, extracts the most salient points, and automatically generates platform-specific variations of the promotional copy.
That is incredible.
It optimizes for the character limits, hashtag density, and the specific tone expected by the algorithm of each individual network.
It's essentially acting as a multilingual translator, but for internet subcultures.
That's a brilliant way to phrase it.
And the source also mentions the systematic repurposing of evergreen content, which is a huge pain point for creators.
Oh, it's tragic.
You write a masterpiece, it gets traffic for 48 hours,
Yeah.
and then it is just buried forever in the archives.
AI solves the archive graveyard problem entirely.
Oh.
It categorizes your evergreen content, content that remains relevant regardless of the news cycle, and it drips it back into your distribution networks months or even years later.
But doesn't it look spammy if you just keep posting the same link?
Well, it doesn't just repost the exact same link with the same caption. It pulls a different quote from the article, or it highlights a different statistic, or generates a brand new graphic.
Oh, so it keeps it fresh.
It constantly tests different angles to drive sustained long-term traffic to a single asset.
And if we look at this from the perspective of the listener right now, the sheer amount of time saved is just staggering.
It's incalculable.
You don't have to be awake at 3 a.m. to manually engage an audience in Tokyo. And you don't have to spend your Friday afternoon manually rewriting a promotional summary into 15 different formats.
Exactly. You get your life back. And the most advanced application of this distribution technology is something we can call the responsive brand narrative.
I saw that mentioned in the research. What does a responsive narrative actually look like in real time?
It means the AI is constantly monitoring the live API feeds of these social platforms to track the velocity of engagement.
Okay, give me a scenario.
Let's say the AI pushes out 3 different promotional angles for your new blog post on a Tuesday morning.
Okay,
About 3 different promotional angles for your new blog post on a Tuesday morning.
okay.
By Tuesday afternoon, the AI recognizes that angle A is getting normal engagement, but angle C is suddenly seeing a 300% spike in shares among a specific subcommunity.
It's going viral in a niche.
Exactly. A responsive AI distribution system doesn't just report that data to you in an email the next day.
What does it do?
It actively pivots. It will automatically pause the ad spend on angle A, double down the budget on angle C, and instantly generate 5 new variations of that winning angle to capitalize on the momentum while the iron is hot.
Wow.
You are no longer executing a static calendar. You are surfing real-time behavioral waves.
Okay, that leads perfectly into the next major concept, because pushing content out and dynamically adjusting the budget is still only looking at the top of the funnel.
Right, getting them to the site.
We need to look at what happens when the audience actually lands on the page. We have to decode the engagement metric.
The true test.
And the source introduces a concept here that I find absolutely fascinating, the high engagement, low conversion paradox.
Yes. This is the scenario that keeps digital marketers awake at night.
Let's unpack this for the listener because it's so counterintuitive. Imagine you have a blog post that is ostensibly a massive viral hit.
The numbers look great on paper.
Right. The analytics show huge traffic. The time on page metric is outstanding. People are clearly rating the entire 2,000-word piece. The social shares are through the roof.
Everyone is high-fiving in the office.
Exactly. By all traditional vanity metrics, it's a total triumph.
Yeah.
But your conversion dashboard shows zero movement.
Crickets?
Nobody is clicking the link at the bottom to subscribe to your newsletter. Nobody is buying the software. Nobody is downloading the white paper.
It's devastating.
What does that actually tell us? Because historically, a creator might look at that, panic, and think the core product or the writing itself is fundamentally flawed.
And that is the huge danger of relying on raw quantitative data without qualitative context.
Right.
High engagement combined with low conversion almost always points to a systemic disconnect at the very end of the user journey, specifically a flaw in the call to action, or the CTA.
So the content is fine.
The content itself is captivating. You have successfully held their attention for 5 minutes, which is an absolute eternity online.
It really is.
But the bridge you built between the content and the desired action is collapsing.
How does AI help diagnose why the bridge is collapsing?
Yeah.
Because a human looking at a spreadsheet just sees a zero where a click should be.
The AI maps the psychological state of the reader against the friction of the CTA.
Okay, I need an example of that.
Sure. So if your blog post is a highly emotional, narrative-driven piece about overcoming burnout in the workplace.
Very sensitive topic.
Exactly. And your CTA at the bottom is a harsh, bright red button that says, "Buy our enterprise software now."
Oh, wow.
The AI will flag the massive cognitive dissonance there. The reader is in a state of empathetic reflection. They are not in a transactional, aggressive state of mind.
They just read a vulnerable story, and now you're screaming at them to buy software.
Right. The AI utilizes its behavioral models to suggest data-driven adjustments, perhaps changing the wording to a softer "explore our wellness tools" or moving the CTA higher up in the text before the emotional peak of the article.
That is so smart. It stops creators from abandoning a brilliant piece of content just because the final interactive element was miscalibrated.
Exactly. It saves the asset.
That is a crucial distinction. And it ties directly into how AI is moving beyond just counting clicks and actually attempting to understand the feelings behind the metrics.
Sentiment analysis.
Yes, the text heavily emphasizes sentiment analysis using NLP.
This is where we truly cross the bridge from quantitative tracking how many people clicked to qualitative understanding.
How do those people feel about what they just read?
Precisely.
Right. Break down for me how a machine actually measures human sentiment. Because if I read a comment section, I can sense the sarcasm, the anger, or the excitement based on my human intuition.
Because you understand nuance.
Right. How does an algorithm replicate that?
It relies on advanced natural language processing to tokenize and score the text.
So,
Yeah, it breaks the sentences into components. When an AI analyzes a comments section or a Twitter thread about your blog post, it doesn't just search for positive or negative keywords like good or bad.
the old way.
That's outdated technology. Modern NLP evaluates the entire semantic structure. It assigns a mathematical valence to the phrases used.
Give me a practical example of how that works in real life.
Let's say a user comments on your post with, "This article absolutely destroyed my preconceived notions about market theory."
Okay.
A rudimentary keyword scraper from 10 years ago might see the word destroyed and immediately flag that comment as negative.
Because destroy is usually bad.
Exactly. But a modern NLP model understands the grammatical context. It recognizes the idiom. It calculates the proximity of the word destroyed to the phrase preconceived notions and correctly tags the sentiment as highly positive.
Indicating a paradigm shift for the reader.
Exactly. It understands they had a breakthrough.
Wow, so it's actually parsing the nuance of human expression at scale.
Yes. And it can do this across tens of thousands of comments in seconds.
Which is impossible for a human team.
Totally impossible. It provides the creator with a holistic dashboard of public perception. You might have an article that is getting massive traffic, but the sentiment analysis reveals that 70% of the engagement is actually rooted in deep frustration over a specific paragraph.
Oh, so they are hate reading it?
Or they're just confused.
Right.
That gives you the qualitative insight needed to go in and clarify your argument, rather than just blindly celebrating the raw traffic numbers.
Which brings us to the most futuristic, honestly mind-bending section of the source material.
This is my favorite part.
We've talked about analyzing the audience's reaction after the fact, right? Tracking the data once it's out there.
Right.
But the text reveals that AI can use this demographic and sentiment data to actively change the blog post itself in real time while the user is reading it.
It is wild.
We are entering the realm of hyper-personalization and the dynamic blog experience.
This is where the static web page officially dies, and the internet becomes a bespoke, individualized experience.
The text explains that algorithms curate personalized recommendations based on past interactions, browsing history, and behavioral demographics. Now, to be clear, we are all used to the basic version of this.
Sure, the read next widgets.
Right, we've all seen the, if you like this article, read this one next box at the bottom of a page. But the source material indicates this technology has evolved into something far more structural.
Far more.
It talks about dynamic elements within the blog itself.
Yes. The underlying architecture of the page itself becomes fluid. We're talking about client-side scripting, communicating with AI backends in milliseconds to execute completely adaptive layouts.
Okay, my mind immediately goes back to our intro analogy of the storefront window physically rearranging its mannequins the moment I walk up to it.
It's the exact same concept.
Is that the level of dynamic rendering we are talking about?
That is precisely the level. Let's say you and I both click on the exact same link from Twitter. It goes to a comprehensive guide on digital marketing.
Okay.
But the AI backend knows, based on browser fingerprinting or login data, that I am a visual learner who frequently engages with video content.
Okay.
While it knows that you are a deep dive reader who prefers long-form text and bulleted data.
Which is very true, actually.
Right. So when I load the page, the AI dynamically restructures the DOM, the document object model of the web page.
In real time.
Instantly. It pulls the embedded explainer video to the very top of the article for me, and it collapses the dense text sections into expandable menus so I don't get overwhelmed.
And when I click that exact same link,
When you click it, the AI recognizes your preference for text. It pushes the video way down to the bottom, expands all the text fields, and highlights the statistical data points in bold.
that is absolutely wild. We are reading the exact same core asset, but the delivery mechanism has morphed to perfectly match our individual cognitive preferences.
Exactly.
And I assume this applies to the messaging and the CTAs as well.
Absolutely. The introductory paragraph might alter its framing based on the industry you work in.
Oh, wow.
And the call to action becomes hyper-personalized. If the AI knows you are a first-time visitor, the CTA might simply ask you to subscribe to a free newsletter, low friction.
Right.
But if the AI knows I have visited the site 5 times and previously downloaded a white paper, my CTA will bypass the newsletter entirely and offer a free trial of the premium software.
Because it knows you are further down the funnel.
Exactly. It's treating every single visitor as an individual relationship.
And I think we have to emphasize the value of scale here. Because, a human salesperson can provide that level of personalization to maybe 20 clients a day.
If they're good.
Right. Providing that level of bespoke, adaptive experience to 100,000 concurrent web visitors simultaneously, that is completely impossible without machine learning.
It's scaling intimacy.
Yes. That dynamic capability is what separates a massive viral brand that builds deep loyalty from a traditional static web page that people bounce away from.
It creates an unparalleled sense of frictionless consumption. When the environment perfectly adapts to the user stays.
Okay, adapting to the reader in the present moment is undeniably powerful. But the source material leaves the most profound capability for the very end.
Trend prediction.
Yes, everything we have discussed so far is about analyzing the past or adapting to the present. But AI's ultimate asymmetric advantage is its ability to look into the future. Let's talk about crystal ball blogging.
This represents the shifts from being a market reactor to a market leader.
The text details how AI harnesses massive data mining and machine learning models to identify emerging trends and predict shifts in audience interests before they ever gain mainstream traction.
Right.
But how exactly is an algorithm predicting human interest before humans even know they are interested?
It comes down to monitoring the velocity and acceleration of information across the fringes of the internet.
The fringes.
Yeah. By the time a topic is trending on mainstream platforms like X or showing up as a high-volume search term on Google, the market is already saturated.
The window is closed.
The window for early adopter virality is totally closed, but predictive AI models don't look at the mainstream.
Where do they look?
They scrape the niche forums, the highly technical subreddits, the academic preprint servers, and the specialized Discord channels.
They are looking at the tiny tributaries before they form the giant river.
That's exactly it. The AI analyzes the semantic chatter in those micro-communities. It measures not just the volume of a new term, but the acceleration of its usage.
The momentum.
Right. If a highly specific, obscure concept suddenly experiences a 400% week-over-week increase in mentions within a concentrated community of experts, the AI's predictive models flag it.
Even if the raw numbers are still small.
Yes. It can tell a creator with a high degree of statistical probability that this specific concept is going to breach the mainstream in approximately 3 to 5 weeks.
So it basically gives you a roadmap of what people are going to be searching for next month.
Exactly.
It allows you to write the definitive, authoritative piece on a subject while the competition is absolute zero. You establish the beachhead before anyone else even knows the island exists.
Precisely. It establishes you as a visionary thought leader in your space, rather than just someone who summarizes what everyone else is already talking about.
But I have to push back on this because there is a philosophical danger here.
Right, there's always a danger.
If we, as creators, are constantly plugging into predictive models, letting an algorithm dictate what we should write about next Tuesday just to capture a rising trend, don't we risk losing our core identity?
Oh, the trend chaser trap?
Yeah. Don't we just become professional trend chasers?
Yeah.
Constantly pivoting our brand to whatever the machine says will get clicks until we stand for absolutely nothing.
That is a very real danger if the tool is used blindly. But the key distinction is that predictive AI should be constrained by your established topical authority.
So you don't just write about everything.
No, it is not about abandoning your niche. It is about illuminating the future of your niche.
Give me an example of how a creator walks that line.
Let's say you run a highly respected blog focused on sustainable architecture.
Okay.
If the predictive AI suddenly notices a massive rising trend in celebrity gossip or cryptocurrency, it is not going to tell you to pivot your architecture blog to cover Bitcoin.
That would destroy your credibility.
It would ruin your brand. Instead, the AI looks strictly within the vectors of sustainable architecture.
Okay, so what does it look for?
It might flag that within highly specialized material science forums, there is a sudden, accelerating discussion about the structural integrity of 3D printed mycelium bricks.
Mushroom bricks.
Exactly.
Ah, I see. It's finding the micro trend within your macro identity.
Yes. It allows you to offer deeply researched, highly valuable perspectives on mycelium architecture weeks before the mainstream design magazines catch on.
Because you knew it was coming.
You aren't chasing random trends. You are actively anticipating the future needs and curiosities of your specific community. You're skating to where the puck is going to be, which ensures long-term, sustained relevance rather than just a flash-in-the-pan viral hit.
That makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
about using the machine to extend your human vision, not replace it.
Absolutely.
So to pull all of these massive concepts together, we have taken an incredible journey through the architecture of the modern internet today.
It's a lot to process.
It really is. Based on the insights from the AI advantage, we've seen how the digital landscape has fundamentally transformed. We started by looking at how AI acts as an invisible back-office team, automating the exhausting logistical prep work to protect our cognitive load.
Right, the sous chef.
Exactly. We explored how natural language processing acts as a real-time co-writer, balancing deep topical authority with perfect user-centric readability.
We examine the shift from archaic keyword stuffing to
Building outreach, which is huge.
it's massive.
We discussed how convolutional neural networks are engineering bespoke visual assets based on the mathematics of human engagement,
And how distribution networks are automatically translating our messaging into the native cultural languages of different social platforms.
while reacting in real time to engagement velocity. We decoded the paradox of high engagement and low conversion using sentiment analysis, explored the science fiction reality of dynamically shifting web pages that adapt to the user in milliseconds.
That is still my favorite part.
It's so cool. And finally, we looked at how predictive data mining allows us to anticipate the future of our industries.
It is a profound, comprehensive suite of tools that really requires a complete paradigm shift in how we view our role as creators.
And the most vital takeaway for you listening right now is that this technology is not locked away in a secret corporate lab somewhere.
No, it's out there right now.
These APIs, these predictive models, and these dynamic rendering tools are accessible today. Integrating them is the key to ensuring that the hours you pour into your research and your writing actually translate into the massive, engaged audience your work deserves.
But as we bring this deep dive to a close, I want to leave you with a lingering, somewhat philosophical question that naturally arises from the implications of this source text.
Oh, I love these. Let's hear it.
We have spent this entire time talking about optimization, using AI to analyze behavior and give the audience exactly what they want in the exact format they want it right before they even know they want it.
Right.
But consider this feedback loop. If AI is constantly optimizing content to perfectly match human preferences, and those human preferences are constantly being shaped and trained by the hyper-optimized AI content they consume every day,
Oh, wow.
in the future of the internet, who is actually leading the conversation? Is it the human creator, the human audience, or the algorithm mediating between the two?
That is a deep architectural question about the future of human culture. And we're going to leave that right there for you to chew on. Take these insights, experiment with the technology, use it to build an unignorable platform for your unique voice, and go make your next post a viral hit.